From healthcare wellness, this is Health Checkup, the podcast that cuts through the noise and provides you with honest, expert insights into your health and wellness journey. If you enjoy our podcast, please subscribe to the Healthcare Wellness channel for more trusted health content. Now, here are your hosts, Emma and Ben.
And today, well, we've got two areas that seem worlds apart at first glance. We're looking at the tough, unvarnished truth of the 1870s Wild West and comparing that with the world of rapid weight loss diets, those quick fixes.
Yeah, it's a fascinating juxtaposition, isn't it? Both promise something dramatic, a legendary cowboy life, or, a totally new, almost overnight.
Okay, let's unpack this. What really jumped out from the sources is how both sell this romanticized instant success story, the quick draw hero, or losing 20 pounds in 2 weeks.
Right. And our job here, our mission in this deep dive, is really to cut through that fantasy, to show that the quick fix version, it's basically always a lie, or at least deeply misleading.
Exactly. Real success, whether it's just surviving back then or getting healthy now, it takes that long, slow, often uncomfortable grind.
That's the core of it. We're digging into why we want that quick fix so badly, the emotional pull. And contrasting that with the sheer daily endurance needed for anything sustainable, we're exploring why that slow, sometimes messy process actually wins out over instant gratification. Every time.
So let's start with the Wild West, because the difference between the Hollywood version and the reality in your sources, it's just staggering. We imagine this grand adventure, right, but the sources paint a picture of relentless misery, frankly.
It really starts with the senses. Or maybe the lack of pleasant ones. Forget the clean cowboys and the dramatic standoffs for a second. The sources describe this heavy, inescapable smell, a mix of unwashed bodies, animal waste, sewage.
Room bathing.
A luxury, maybe monthly if you were lucky. Water was just too precious. Needed it for drinking, for cooking, not washing.
And the work. It never stopped.
No, this wasn't your 9 to 5. We're talking like 14 hours a day, constant physical labor, plowing fields, mining, ranching, dawn till dusk.
No weekends off, I assume? No breaks?
Absolutely not. And the physical toll was immense. Sources mention people becoming terminally hunched over, arthritic, sometimes in their early 30s.
Just worn out by life.
Yeah, worn out, which explains the average lifespan for many frontier laborers. Tragically short. Around 35 years old in some areas for some groups. Life was just brutal.
And that brutality extended to what they ate, didn't it?
Oh, definitely. Forget hearty trail meals. The diet was incredibly monotonous. Mostly beans, biscuits, coffee.
And that coffee wasn't your local barista's best, I imagine.
No, boiled, bitter. Sometimes they added salt or crushed eggshells to settle the grounds. Just rough.
And this lack of variety, it had real health consequences, serious ones.
Absolutely. Scurvy, for instance, just a basic lack of vitamin C. It was surprisingly common. Bleeding gums, teeth falling out.
Things we barely think about now because, well, oranges are easy to get.
Exactly. An easily preventable disease back then was a constant painful threat because fresh produce was so scarce in many places.
And on top of that, basic food safety just wasn't a thing.
Not at all. So dysentery, food poisoning, these were like everyday risks, not some rare occurrence.
It paints such a different picture than the heroic image. Even the violence.
Right. Even the violence wasn't the clean, quick-draw duel we see in films. Your sources show it was often messy, impulsive, alcohol-fueled fights over, really trivial things often, not formal duels.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We have this idea of the West as totally lawless, right? Pure freedom. But the sources actually push back on that quite a bit.
They do. It's fascinating. Many of those famous frontier towns, Tombstone, Dodge City, they actually had strict gun control laws. Visitors often had to check their firearms when they entered town limits.
Seriously, so the OK Corral
wasn't just two gangs deciding to have it out. It kicked off because one group refused to comply with the town's weapons ordinance.
Wow. So the need for order, even uncomfortable order, was there right from the start. It wasn't total chaos.
Exactly. The myth of the purely lawless West often crumbles under that basic need for community rules.
And then there's the isolation. If you got sick or hurt,
you were in trouble. Medicine was incredibly primitive. Most doctors had little or no formal training. Treatments, well, they might involve things like mercury, arsenic, bloodletting.
Stuff we know now is toxic or useless.
Right. And surgery. If it happened, it was often without sterilization. Maybe some whiskey or morphine for the pain, if you were lucky.
So even minor infections
could easily lead to amputation or death. Survival was just this constant, painful daily marathon, not some quick sprint to glory.
Okay, let's pivot now from that dusty, harsh reality of the 1870s to the often glossy digital world of today's diet trends. But surprisingly, we see that same core psychological hook, don't we?
We absolutely do. It's that lure of the quick, easy success story. We're drawn to it because, well, often we're desperate for a fast solution.
Right. People often look for these extreme diets because there's an event coming up, isn't there? A wedding, a vacation.
Exactly. There's a deadline. And these diets, they feel simple. They offer this really rigid structure. Just eat these 5 things or cut out this entire food group.
It feels manageable in the short term.
Yeah, it gives you that instant gratification, that feeling of control.
Yeah.
And hope. That's the honeymoon phase. You feel like you're finally doing something drastic, something that'll work fast.
But that simplicity, that promise, that's the trap, isn't it?
It's the massive trap.
Yeah.
Because people focus only on the number on the scale dropping quickly. They ignore the fact that the plan itself is just completely unsustainable. Nutritionally, behaviorally, emotionally.
And the scale lies, you mentioned that. How so?
Well, what's really fascinating and kind of deceptive is that initial big drop, that whoosh of weight loss that feels so good.
Yeah.
It's almost entirely water and, unfortunately, sometimes muscle mass, not the body fat you're actually trying to lose.
Why does that happen?
It's down to how your body stores energy.
Mm-hmm.
Severe calorie cutting or removing whole food groups like carbs rapidly depletes your glycogen stores.
Mm-hmm.
And glycogen holds on to water. So the glycogen goes, the water goes with it.
Ah, so it looks like massive fat loss, but it's mostly just water shifting.
Precisely. You lose water weight fast, not significant fat, which feels like a huge win initially.
But that's why it comes back so quickly.
Exactly. That success is temporary by design. As soon as you start eating normally again, even just a little bit more, your body replenishes those glycogen stores, the water comes right back, and the scale jumps up.
Leading to that emotional crash, that feeling of failure.
Yes. And it creates such an unhealthy cycle. People feel like they failed, like they lacked willpower. But the truth is, the plan itself was designed to fail long term. It wasn't sustainable from the start.
And part of that failure is built into what the diets lack, right? Nutritionally.
Absolutely. That simplicity comes at a huge cost. It creates this nutritional scarcity. These trend diets are often missing crucial things: whole grains, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals. Fiber is a huge one too. Lack of fiber leaves your digestive system feeling, well, stagnant, uncomfortable.
And just the sheer boredom.
Oh, massive factor. Eating the same few restrictive foods day after day. It leads to cravings, fatigue. It makes people fall off the wagon, as they say.
Because mentally and physically, you're just depleted. It's too restrictive. It can't be a lifestyle.
Never. It's a short-term shock to the system, not a way to live.
So if we tie this all together, connect the dots, it seems both survival in the Wild West and achieving lasting health changes, they demand the same fundamental thing.
They really do. It's sustained, daily discipline, often uncomfortable discipline. It requires prioritizing consistency over the allure of speed.
That slow, steady effort.
Exactly. And maybe the ultimate historical example of that painful, necessary persistence is something like the Oregon Trail migration.
Right, the sources mention that, just the physical journey itself.
Brutal. 2,000 miles.
Yeah.
And those wagons, they had no suspension. Imagine being constantly jarred, shaken for months.
And the survival rate wasn't great?
Not at all. Of the estimated 400,000 people who tried, maybe 1 in 10 didn't make it. The trail was literally called the nation's longest graveyard.
And it wasn't just accidents or attacks. Disease was rampant.
Yeah, cholera was the #1 killer. Terrifyingly fast. You could be perfectly healthy at breakfast and dead by dinner from the severe dehydration it caused.
The psychological strength needed must have been unbelievable.
Immense. Think about it. Burying a child, a spouse, along the trail, marking the grave as best you could, and then you had to keep going immediately.
You couldn't stop, couldn't pause to grieve properly.
No, because stopping, delaying meant risking getting caught by winter in the mountains, which was often a death sentence. So you had to endure that trauma, that grief, daily, and just keep moving forward. Persistence was survival.
So how do we apply that same gritty, persistent mindset to health today without the life or death stakes, maybe?
Well, we can use that desire for the quick fix, the crash diet, as a kind of wake-up call, a sign that we want change. But we have to internalize that the quick fix itself isn't the answer. It never will be for long-term success.
So accepting the less glamorous truth.
Yeah. The real goal is slow, sustainable change.
Yeah.
Losing maybe 1 or 2 pounds a week, but keeping it off forever.
Which requires that unromantic daily consistency.
Exactly. Instead of extreme restriction, it means focusing on the foundations. The boring stuff sometimes. Things like balanced meals, making sure you got protein, healthy fats, complex carbs.
Getting enough fiber-rich foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Kind of the modern way to prevent scurvy, right? Nutritionally sound.
You could say that. And crucially, mindful eating. Actually listening to your body's hunger and fullness signals.
Establishing a rhythm that works for your life, not some chaotic, restrictive plan you found online.
That's the uncomfortable discipline that actually wins in the long run. Consistency, sustainability.
So what's the big takeaway here? When we look at both these sets of sources, it seems whether you were, huddled in a sod house, facing a blizzard back then, or trying to break unhealthy eating habits today, that romanticized fast-track path, it's almost always loaded with hidden dangers and, ultimately, failure.
Yeah, it's a mirage.
While the real path, the messy, persistent, daily grind, often boring, often uncomfortable, that's the only way to actually survive or to achieve lasting success.
You just can't cheat the need for endurance, whether it's physical or psychological.
It makes you think.
It really does. And maybe it raises an important question for everyone listening. Considering the incredible discomfort, the sheer endurance frontier people needed just to stay alive, what small, sustainable, maybe slightly uncomfortable daily effort are you avoiding right now? That slightly boring 20-minute walk you keep putting off. Or the effort to prep a healthy meal instead of grabbing takeout.
Those small things that add up.
Exactly. Those small acts of persistence that could lead to genuine long-term improvement in your own life. Because ultimately, it really is a journey. It demands that constant forward motion. It's definitely not a sprint to the finish line.
You've been listening to Health Checkup from @Healthcare Wellness. We hope you feel empowered to approach your wellness journey with more insight and less hype. If you enjoyed this episode, please like this video and leave a comment to tell us what you thought. For more honest, evidence-based health and wellness content, subscribe to @Healthcare Wellness channel and join our community. Thank you for listening. We'll be back soon with another Health Checkup.